let's talk about a very special episode of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Paris, October 1916. Screenplay? It's already a topic. Okay, credited is Carrie Fisher, with a story by George Lucas. We know for a fact that George Lucas did write some of this, specifically the dialogue. Because that's that clip, look it up, I'm gonna link it in the description, hopefully. Carrie Fisher and George Lucas discussing the writing of this episode and how Lucas replaced all the romantic dialogue himself. Okay, this is also directed by Nicholas Roeg? I don't know. This feels like a test run for Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. Not as bad, but there is stuff going on here. Okay, let's begin with the plot. First off, I love the bookends with old Indy. It's this 94-year-old man just standing in line at the supermarket and telling these housewives about the time he fucked a stripper during World War I. Main story, Indy and Remy are on leave, basically. They are in Paris, it's 1916, Indy is 17 years old, and he's meeting a French guy who's like a friend of his dad, Henry Sr. That French guy is played by Ian McDermott, better known as Emperor Palpatine. That's pretty nice seeing him here. And Indy gets introduced to the exotic dancer Mata Hari, who is a real historical person, the exotic dancer and a spy during World War I, who ended up being executed, which you should probably know before watching this episode, because, so from what I gathered, the editing style in this is like a staple of the director, which helps explain why it's so weird, because I don't want to talk in detail about the editing, just watch the episode for yourself, but there is some funky stuff going on. We pretty much get Mata Hari's execution, like that happened in real life, that is shown here, but it's in this weird edited sequence in the middle, not really in the middle, but somewhere in the episode, and it's unique, I give it that, but yeah, I think if you don't know the actual historical context here, you would be confused to some degree. But just because of that, because the story itself really isn't complicated at all. It's just Indy is falling in love with her, she's a slut or a spy, that's the big question. Is she just a whore, or is she using Indy because she's spying, and giving information to the enemies? It's not a big thing because it's mostly just focused on those two interacting and Indy being jealous because she's sleeping around with other men. And that's basically it. It's not one of my favorite episodes. It's interesting. It's weird. It feels like a test run for the Star Wars prequel romance. In parts, not all the dialogue is bad, but there are some lines in here you can feel George Lucas. There was also something very confusing about... There's a scene when Indy gets interrogated by his superiors, and they know he's part of the Belgian army under the name Henri Defense, but they know he's Henry Jones Jr., who also goes by Indiana Jones. And one of his, military colleagues gets him out of his cell and refers to him as, what was it, Lieutenant or Colonel Jones. And it's like, is Indy's secret identity even a thing anymore? Like, the Defense thing? That just confused me, because it seems like everybody is aware. So that's just another weird thing in this very weird episode. It's good, but it has this weird feel to it just because Indy meeting historical characters is I guess it's a controversial thing of the show in general, but when it works, like the Albert Schweitzer episode. When he just meets these characters and they talk and interact and they share their own worldview with Indy, that's good stuff. Indy fucking an actual historical person feels weird. What's even weirder, this is not the only time this happens in the show. We have two other instances of romance with not just Indy, but another person, I'm gonna get to that, with real people, and I'm not a fan of that. Oh well, next time we're gonna talk about Istanbul, September 1918.